Hello, everyone. Welcome to Friday live stream with Grace of Westminster. It's Constant here. If it's your first time here on this live stream, every single Friday, more or less, we talk about Nikon things. So, how's the sound? First of all, is sound okay? Let me know in the comments below. Hello, and good to see everyone in the chat. So, we talk Nikon, we talk all the news. You ask me some photographic questions if you have some, all this good stuff. And if you've never been in our live chat before, then jump into the live chat if you're watching it live and let me know where are you watching from. And if you're watching this after the fact, then let me know in the comments under this video as well. If you have any questions, even after the video as well, you can put them down and maybe I'll try to answer them next time. So hello, everyone in the chat. So we got Dr. Robert Goldman, we got J Blue, Roy Bigsby, Acronym Photography, who is saying that looking forward to tuning in. I've missed loads. All the best, Simon. Well, welcome back, Simon. Glad you're here. We've got Russell, Andy, Terrence, Jacob, Jim Pors, Dave Walker, John Yan, Jean Lam, so many people. Richard, fantastic. Well, glad to see you all. Hopefully we're not buffering. Again, we've checked again with IT guys. So apparently people are still downloading stuff on the same network while I'm streaming, while everyone knows not to do so. So who knows? But some IT magic trickery was done to the network. So hopefully I get all the priority on my stream compared to everyone else. So hopefully no more buffering, but never say never, I would say. How you getting on with your photography? Let me know in the comment below. The coffee fund is open. You know what? I'm going to have a coffee because I haven't had coffee yet. It's been a busy morning. So a couple of things happening in the Nikon world. So Nikon started their instant save promotions in UK and Europe. So there's discounts on cameras like Z9, Z8, you name it, Z850, Z780, all there. There's 10% discounts on pretty much all Z lenses except a few. So that happens. Again, if you haven't bought the lenses in a summer promotion, then this is probably a right time to buy your equipment now. So that's good news. That's going to be running next month as well. Now, one of the interesting news came out is that Tamron announced their 50 to 400 millimeter lens. So, and I want to know what your thoughts about this. Is obviously it's one of those kind of all-rounder lenses that do it all. It's priced reasonably. I think it's about £1,250 in the UK. It's obviously compete with something like 28 to 400 lens from Nikon. So I want to ask your opinion. What's your thoughts on this? Would you rather buy a Nikon one, or would you rather buy a Tamron one? Tamron one looks a little bit smaller. I'm not sure in terms of specifications how heavy it is, but I think it's about 1,200 grams. I watched Matt Irvin's video on it, and he seems to like it. We got promised by Tamron. I just saw email this morning that they will send me and Becky a pre-production unit to try. So hopefully that's going to be with us in the next couple of weeks. The launch is, I think, is on 19th or 16th of September. So we should get the pre-production unit for a review a bit earlier. So hopefully we can put our hands on it and tell you our opinion about it. So, by the way, I'm going to see Becky tomorrow. We're going to film a bunch of videos. There's a long list of videos we need to film. We haven't seen each other for a month or so. So if you want me to say hi to Becky from you, definitely let me know in the comments below as well. Onto the to-do list is Nikon 35 1.4 review, Voigtlander 75 1.5 review. We've got some of the TT Artisan things to try as well. We may do a comparison of 35-1.4 versus 35-1.8. So obviously we'll need time for this. So we have a whole day scheduled tomorrow. Let's see what we can cover. If we can't cover all of it, well, that's fine. We'll come back to it. But if you have more requests, again, let me know in the comments below. And speaking of comments below, I'm just going to quickly look at your comments. So let's have a look. So Nick Harrison, Andy saying hello to Becky, Dr. Robert Goldman as well. That's fantastic. J-Road Photo Arts as well. Nikon ever made a 4 zoom. Which f4 zoom? 28 to 400? Probably not, because it's going to be too big if it's a fixed focal distance. Obviously, it goes to f8 in this focal distance. The Tamron, I think, it goes to 6.3, and that's kind of one of the differences, a part of the focal distances, of course. Let's see if you got more comments right from the beginning of the chart. Let's see. Rick is saying hello, Con, and everyone else in Scotland living the Skyfall movie viewpoint, heading to the Isle of Skye. Gorgeous over here. Fantastic. Enjoy your stay in Scotland. I need to go to Scotland. I've been to Edinburgh, as we all do. Went through all the pubs, tasted all the whiskies. Well, probably 1% of them, not all of them, but there's too many whiskies in Scotland. But definitely, I need to go up there and just see the nature, because the nature is absolutely stunning in there. Jay Blue say good morning from Washington D.C. Good morning to you. Let's go. Okay, Russell is from Houston. Fantastic. We've got so Andy is Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Wow. Okay, I never knew this place existed. That sounds really, really cool. Roy's from Australia. Yes, yes. One day I will make it there. I will tell you, Roy. If I'm coming, definitely going to Perth. It's just because there's some friends in there. Need to go to Melbourne and Sydney. That's just a given if you go to Australia. You don't go to one place in Australia. You visit them all if you can, because when is the next time you're going to go there? But I also wanted to drive to the, what was it? East side, East Coast, up to Brisbane. So could be a whole month's trip. I don't know, but maybe next year. But the plans are there. Let's have a look. So, Dr. Robin Goodman has a question. Can someone tell me why some lenses zoom internally and others externally? For example, a 70-100, 100, 400, now 1H to 600. Generally, if they're focusing internally, it's a more expensive lens. It's much easier to design them to focus externally, if you notice. And focusing internally, effectively, zoom internally means basically that it's more dust proof. That's what it is, because once you start to extend the lens, obviously there are tubes there, so there's a risk obviously of contamination. So dust or moisture going in. Obviously they put some gaskets around it, but that's kind of the general idea. More expensive lens would highly likely have an internal zoom over external. Okay, so Michael is in West Cumbria and it's nice and sunny. Yes, guys, enjoy us in UK. Let's enjoy the last days of summer. So maybe you'll get some Indian summer in September. Who knows? But I think this year we definitely had a lot more sunny and warm days compared to previous years. Sound is good. That's fantastic. I'm catching up with you. Yeah, let me know on your thoughts on. We're gonna go to Z50 Mark II eventually. But I want to discuss the Tamron release with you, because Tamron seems to be pushing a very different lenses from Nikon, and they actually keep releasing things, unlike Sigma. So you may not like Tamron because of previous things and previous experience, and there's always someone who's going to say Nikon lenses are the best and Sigma and Tamron lenses are not very good and stuff because they had experience in the past. But what I can say about Tamron lens, the Z lens releases were really good. Obviously, their build quality is not the same as Nikon's, but in terms of weather settings and things, they're not too bad at all. You can update the firmware via USB socket as well, which is quite good. And they make lenses that Nikon doesn't make, so they don't compete directly. And that means if you need a native Z mount 7300 lens, there's one from Tamron. There's not a 7300 lens from Nikon, so go figure, But I think they're doing the right thing. I really want Sigma to join us in that Z mount heaven and release their art series of lenses. That would be quite good. But I want to know your thoughts on 50 to 400 lens. Dave's work birthday is tomorrow. Well, happy upcoming birthday and many returns to you. So his 1H600 is 1 year old tomorrow. Fantastic. What are you treating yourself for this year? What are you buying? So single track 66 says Z50 Mark II is long overdue. We're gonna get to there at some point. So that's we're gonna discuss that absolutely. All the higher angle says my wife, host Becky, is writing her third book and she can read it. Becky is definitely writing lots of books. I can tell you this. From what I know, I think she's got a book publishing like this book should be coming out sometime in autumn. So, but maybe she will decide to come in one day. Like if you're watching this, well, I'll see you tomorrow anyway. I'll tell you. So, but and she can talk all about it. But definitely, she is writing books and she is enjoying doing that. So yes, we all. I'm going to pass all your regards to Becky. Absolutely. Thank you, Vince. Appreciate it. He's enjoy the shoot tomorrow with Becky. Thank you, Jay Blue. He says, have some coffee and please hello to Becky. Definitely, I'll pass it on. Absolutely. It's, yeah, we don't see each other very often because we have, different lifestyles nowadays. So, that's the thing. And it's the time we find ourselves is when we both free from our other commitments, like running a shop, doing some other work, writing books and things like this, So that's the thing. But it's always good to see. We try to go to the places we haven't been, either of us. So that's always fun as well. And tomorrow we're going to be somewhere on the sea side of England. So, somewhere there. So, in that area. Try to spot us. Who knows? It's cold in Australia. It's winter. Here we go. It's 15 degrees. 15 degrees is not too cold. It's all right. It's all right. It's a English weather in around September, October time. So it's not too bad. But surprisingly, we are over 20 right now. So let's see. J Road Photo R says, was it Hyde Park that you visited for testing lenses? I went there and it was wonderful. We haven't gone to Hyde Park for a very long time. We've been there maybe 2-3 years ago, near the pond where the duckies are and all other birds. We haven't been there for a while. We generally try to, because we work in central London, but we actually live outside of London, so we prefer to go somewhere in the nature. So that's the thing, because every time you take the camera out in the city, it's like, from people saying, oh, you can't film there because you look professional, to all other things. So, only when we need to do, like when we want to show London or something, like, let's say, places like London, Borough Market and things like this, then we do that. But I guess when the winter comes, we're going to spend more time in city than outdoors in the nature, because it's just going to be a little bit warmer there. So, and obviously it's nice to have coffee shops around the corner so you can warm up yourself. Roy Bigsby is asking, any more news on 28 to 135 Z Pause? Not at this moment, I'm afraid. I think we're all waiting for this red alliance with Nikon. My thinking is that next year is the year of Nikon red collaboration. That's kind of my prediction very early on. But I think we're going to see cine lenses, cine cameras. So I think we're going to see a dedicated cine LiDAR from Nikon Z, and it's going to be branded as Nikon Z, maybe Cine or something like this. That's my guess. And then, let's see what Red is going to come out with, because I think they'll continue to have their Red cameras as a more expensive kind of tools marketed at a pro cinematographers, maybe in feature films, etc. So tied with Hollywood, yada yada yada. So that's the thing. So I don't think it's this year. Again, I've asked last live stream, what do you guys think we're going to see this year before the 31st of December this year? What else Nikon may announce? And if the announcement is going to happen, we got basically another 3-4 months to do that. If you have any ideas, again, I'm happy to read your comments and see your thoughts. Dave Stoll says the 35 to 150 lens is one of my favorite. That's a Tamron lens. It's a big heavy lens, but it's a fixed aperture lens, and yes, it's absolutely amazing. We tested it. The image quality is fantastic. However, the 150 to 500 lens was a dog. I think I'll pass on 50 to 400 lens. Already have the Nikon 28 to 400, and that's good enough for now. That's the thing. I think it's an interesting one because, yes, we have 28 to 400. It's obviously f8 at 400, and 50 to 400 is 6.3. So the question is, do you need that additional, not even a stop of light, let's be honest. So, but if you do need this, or high ISO is good enough, and then you're happy to go to f8 at a 4, but then get a Nikon glass over Tamron. So interesting to see your opinion. Which one would you buy? Let's see. I'm just going to quickly through. If there's no more on Tamron lens, then we're going to move on to Z50, I think. And if you do have questions, ask me in the chat as well. Thank you, Deborah. Always great to see you. I'm glad that you joined us live this time. It's a pleasure. Day Walk says, bought a planner earlier, need to replace Mac when there's M4 solution to buy, probably 35 1.4 next year, and maybe upgrade to Z6 Mark III. That's a nice list to have of things to buy, absolutely. I'm still on my MacBook M1 Pro, still going strong, dropped it a couple of times. It's got some war scars on the base, but still going strong enough to edit 4K footage, raw footage and raw footage. So that's good. That's good. But yes, I mean, if you haven't upgraded your laptop for a while, I think it's a good option. 3514 definitely will be happy to share my opinion about this lens next week, because tomorrow we're going to have a little bit more play with it. We'll compare it with the current Z mount 35 1.8 as well. So definitely we'll be able to share a little bit more on there. Yeah, have a great sleep, Roy. Yeah, it's always difficult to get everyone one place, because obviously it's really late in Australia and it's really early in the United States, and it's a midday in UK. So I don't know what would be the best solution, but this seems to be like a sweet spot in terms of live streams, because if we're gonna go, let's say, earlier, then United States gonna be sleeping, and if you go a little bit later, then Australia is gonna be quite late for them. So this is what's the reason for having it at 2:15 as usual. So there's some thought went into that time. All right, so let's see. So Roy Bigsby again says Super Zoom's like 28-400 and Tamron 50-400. There's a bit of misspelling there. Great for travel, but a bit too compromised for me. Well, that's the thing. Everyone has to make their own conclusion. What's enough is good enough, isn't it? So, and it's coming from me, who is using prime lenses most of the time. So that's the thing. How much is the compromise you willing to give, really, and to be with? Because in a way, yes, it's all in one. It can't be must over it's all, if you see what I mean. So because it has to cover such range, and general advice was always maybe get two lenses to cover the same focal distances, and that they should perform a little bit better, but at the inconvenience of changing them. So, but yeah, it's something that everyone has to ask. If everyone is happy with just having one zoom, not changing, and image quality is good enough for them, then just stick with this. If you feel like it's good but not good enough to your kind of bar of quality, then definitely maybe it's worth considering something that does the same job, but maybe it's 2 or 3 lenses that cover the same range. All the higher angler says, since I have a Nikon 24-200 lens, I'm more interested in Tamron 150-500 lens than 50-400. And what do you think, let's say, these are 150-500 lens, and what do you think about 180-600 lens from Nikon as well? So why, let's say, Tamron over Nikon one? What would be your thought on this? And yeah, Craig C kind of confirms Dave Stoll's comment on the 35-150 Tamron lens being absolute a winner, and not too many positive comments on 150-500 lens. Okay, that's an interesting one. That's an interesting one. All right, let's go further. Ooh, there's a talk about film here, and I always get excited when you guys discuss film in the chat before me even mentioning it, because then I can jump in and we're just gonna hijack this live stream and talk film for the rest of the live stream. I'm not gonna do that, but Albert Jimenez says the Mamiya 645 is a fantastic choice of optics because the flange distance is very short in comparison to the other medium format optics, making the lenses feel more native. Yes, Mamiya 645 is fantastic. The H5 1.9 lens is absolutely legendary lens. I had my Mi, I think 1000, which was pre 645 range. So that was my first medium format camera I ever tried. So there's some pictures on my website that were taken with that lens from New York, from the Dumbo area. Before Dumbo was this glorified, redeveloped area, it was a junkyard effectively. So that's where I was, but that was a long time ago, back in 2004. So, but yeah, I still have kind of this definitely a warm spot for my Mi 645 range of cameras. They're beautifully made. All right, so let's look at more questions and comments. And so Craig C says, oh, the 180-600 is a must-have for me either way, but I'm interested in 50-400 lens. Or the higher angler would love to have 180-600 lens. Number 35-150 lens was that I found the zoom quite steep. Okay, to contemporary 180-600. Both good options. Yeah, but obviously Nikon being native one, so there's update on optics as well, so it's a little bit more up to date. So, but both lenses are very good, and we are back to buffering. I think we are back to buffering, buffering, buffering. Yep, yep. Waiting to clear. Hopefully, it will. Still buffering. Oh dear. All right, it's time for the email. Well, that sucks. Okay, it looks like, are we buffering or we not buffering right now? I am back. Am I back? Tell me. Let me know in the comments below. Hello, good people of the internet. It's always good to see you. And as usual, nothing makes your live stream better than a good old-fashioned buffering, because it doesn't break your flow. You don't forget what you want to talk about. All those things don't happen when the stream is buffering. So, but it's always good that some of you are still here. You didn't disappear. You patiently waited for me to come back, because on my screen here, on my little admin screen, I'm still buffering, but you tell me that it's all okay. That means we can continue. I think kind of we got the idea on Tamron lens. I think thanks for sharing this with me. So let's talk about Z50 Mark II for a moment. Yeah. What are your thoughts so far? So I'm sure you all saw the rumors on on the Nikon rumors website. This little indie website. It's only about 5 people read, so but they uploaded the first rumors, and it basically says that we've got new body design. We got new XP7 processor, which is on good old cameras. Flippy screen, like on Z6 III. Okay, USB-C. Thank God for that. So NL25 battery, which was used in all Z50 cameras. So that's all good and dandy. Now, they say that's official announcements before the end of 2024. And we're still going to have this 20.9 megapixel sensor, the same as on Z50 and G500, cameras. So he says it's not confirmed yet, but hopefully my info is wrong, and they will introduce new sensor. Fuji, for example, is already using 40 megapixel in their latest X100C camera. So let me know. Let me know. So what are your thoughts on this? I can tell you that we need a new sensor, as simple as that. So that's my thoughts on this. It's a good sensor, but it's a sensor that we used on G500. G500 has been out for quite some time now, let's be honest, yeah? So that's that. I personally think that we need to have vibration reduction on the sensor. That's, it needs to happen, because if you don't have vibration reduction on the sensor, you effectively losing the battle. People are still saying I'm not buffering. That's fine. I got you. But can you hear me when I'm talking about Z50? That's the question, because I'm looking at the comments. Okay, here we go. Z50 comments are coming through, so that's some good news. Okay, so yeah, if you don't come out with vibration reduction on the sensor, then who are you competing with? That is my question, and that's what I want to hear from you. Do you think that vibration reduction on the sensor on DX camera is a crucial thing to have, or do you think it's not a problem? So I'm gonna say, do we need VR on the sensor in DX cameras? Here's the quick poll, and I want you to vote and tell me. Because for me, I personally think, I'm a full frame user, but I personally think that if we want to be competitive in DX space, then we definitely want to have that. That's my opinion. So okay, even if it's not Z50, something like, let's say, if it's a D500 replacement, Z90 or Z500 or whatever we want to call it, needs to have vibration reduction on the sensor. And I can see that generally, kind of, it's a 79% versus 21 or 80%, for the VR on the sensor. So it seems like, that's the case. But if you don't need vibration reduction on the sensor, could you let me know in the comments below? I want to see the reasoning behind it. And see what it is. But so far, we got 40 votes in here. The vibration reduction on the sensor is winning quite significantly. So let's look through your comments. Thank you very much. We're not buffering. That's fantastic to hear. I am loud and clear. That's brilliant. Let's see. They work says it's when you work from home the last day before you go on holiday and your Wi-Fi goes down. That's the thing. Well, to be honest with you, if we're gonna continue this situation with the buffering and things like this, I might need to start stream from home, which is not ideal. It's fine by me because I will be at home, but it's not ideal from the shop's point of view. So, All Higher Angler says, I have Z50 and Nikon Z50 Mark II, as listed on Nikon Rumors, doesn't have anything that you would cause me to upgrade. Exactly. That's kind of my point. Yeah, I would say upgraded sensor would be nice to have. That's, vibration reduction for a lot of people would be definitely an improvement. USB C socket is useful when you want to charge in camera. So Z50 doesn't allow charging batteries in camera. So because I think it's still got micro USB socket. So that's kind of an upgrade. But yeah, I would definitely get a bump in resolution, get vibration reduction on the sensor. XPeed 7, obviously, that should give you also fast autofocus, things like this. So that would definitely, I agree, would entice people to upgrade. But the current rumors don't say much. And that's why, kind of I'm asking you. So I'm going to end the poll. It's 87% of people do want to see that, the vibration reduction on the sensor. So that's great to know. I want to say thank you to Kirill. Here you have it, folks. Thank you very much, Kirill. I appreciate it. I'm going to have a wonderful coffee. This one is from Costa Rica. And Bree says yes on Z50. Okay, that's good. Tom Lawrence says, my main Z50 Mark II concern is lack of IBIS mentioned so far. Less concerned about the extra resolution. A BSI sensor would be nice, though. Yeah, that's the thing. We kind of, that's keep a 21 megapixel, just update it. That's kind of my point is, it's nice, it's good and trusted, but just update the sensor. I'm not saying put 40 megapixel sensor. That's not the point. A lot of people, when I say give me a new sensor, think that, oh yes, it's high megapixel, but what do you need all the megapixels for? That's not a discussion. So the question is, yes, it's just once we use, like, okay, let's just quickly Google Nikon Z500 release date. So just for the, so for the info, it came out in April 2016, yeah? So that's 2016. Today's 2024 September, yeah? So it's been 8 years. And, I don't, it's good to upgrade the sensor in 8 years. I think technology has improved, if you see what I mean. So, that's kind of my point behind it. Thank you very much, Gary. Not for the coffee fund. It is for broadband upgrade fund, low. Gary, that's the thing. The problem is, we can't install the dedicated line, as far as I know, into the historical, whatever is grade 2, grade 3 listed building. That's where the problem is. But I keep talking, obviously. Trust me, I am as frustrated as you are, and as I say, it's not amazing to do a live stream when you're constantly buffering, because it kind of throws you off the of the ball a little bit, so it's just kind of the whole energy and dynamic, and the flow is just kind of being ruined. So yeah, I don't like it personally, and I feel you guys. I appreciate that you're still here, after different hiccups. And all I can do is hope, really. That's the thing. So if you see, I'm starting to get a bit of white hair, so that's probably part of the buffering on the live streams. You never know. So more comments on Z50. So Jim Lam is saying Z50 is my trail and walk around camera. Jim, let's say if Z50 has a new sensor and vibration reduction on it, would you upgrade? That's the question for you as a Z50 owner. Davey Boy says VR is on the lens and is normally enough for D7500. Yes. And if you go further, there's no vibration reduction on film cameras. But the technology is improving. And the logic here is that if technology is advancing and competitors using that technology, why not Nikon has similar technology in their cameras? So that's the idea behind it. But what was good 10 years ago for everyone and is still good for me, I use film cameras without vibration reduction. Absolutely no issue for me. I know my shot speeds. I know the slow shot speed I can shoot handheld without vibration reduction. But that's not the conversation, if you see what I mean. So that's the thing. So we're talking about competitiveness on that market, specifically DX market in this case. So that's where we're at. So Roy Big, so let's see. The DX sensor is an APS-C cut of the Z7 sensor. Yeah, so what was it? So it's 45 megapixels. So if we crop 45 megapixel in DX, I don't use that. I think it's 24 megapixels. I could be wrong, or it could be 20 megapixels. You guys tell me. I never used DX crop on my full frame cameras. I crop in the post. So that's why I never bothered about that. But yeah, I mean, 40 megapixel, I personally find that on DX crop maybe is a bit too much in this case, because it's a lot of pixels cramped in there. But Fuji went there, so that means technology is there. I personally think keep a 20.9 or 21 megapixel, but yeah, update it to the latest specs. And realistically speaking, we need a faster sensor if you want to have higher frame rate, etc. So that's the thing. Hello, Hudson Lee. Good to see you. Greeting from Texas. J Blue says VR is a must on all Nikon mirrorless cameras. There's no reason not to have it. I absolutely agree with you on that. Albedo 0.39 says if you saw 26 megapixel DX, that would imply that Z7 III at 62 megapixels. If DX goes to 40, implies the 7 would be 90 megapixels. It's a good, interesting point. Yeah, absolutely. We talked about low and slow cameras, so that could be an option. Z7 Mark III is called Z8. Who knows? That's probably it, but who knows? We may see low and slow Z7 Mark III. I still think we should get one of those from the point of choice. It's always good to have choice. I think we had discussion a couple of live streams before when I was asking you, would you buy a higher resolution Z7 Mark III being slow? And some people said yes. So there's definitely a demand for this. How big it is, it's difficult to say. Obviously, our sample here, Nikon users, maybe is not fully representative, but it's just good to know your opinion in the chat on that. Dave Stoll says, if these specs are true on Z50 Mark II, it's a fix to comply with EU charging laws and replace the autofocus flip under the screen. The native DX lenses all have capable VR. Yeah, so the VR, so European fix, yeah, will come with all cameras. That's just part of it. I think the problem with the idea of the native DX lens have a vibration reduction, so that means that's fine. I don't like that idea personally, from the point of a lot of people buying DX cameras, they still want to use full frame lenses with the idea that they will upgrade at some point. And some full frame lenses, as you know, don't have vibration reduction. So that's the thing. So if we want to limit ourselves to say that DX cameras should be used with their entry-level lenses like 16-50 and 50-50 lenses, then we should be okay with this. But if you, let's say, want to put Tamron 7300 lens, which doesn't have vibration reduction, well, buy 50-50. But what if someone wants to buy Z50 and eventually upgrade to Z6 Mark III, let's say? That's where kind of my line of thoughts is, because a lot of people who bought D7000 series back in the day, let's say, they upgrade to D780 or D800 series cameras eventually, and a lot of people buying DX bodies still buying full frame lenses, because once you upgrade to full frame, you can still use those lenses. So you don't need to upgrade your lenses as well as the camera. So that's why I don't think that point stands for me personally. But who knows? J-Road Photo R says, a new Z50 needs to match the R7 or better with 33 megapixels, 2 cents with IBS. So I think, yeah, I kind of agree with that. Terrence Allen says, Z50 works for me. I would purchase a higher spec camera like Z8 or Z6 III if you want an extra stabilization. That's fine, but would you buy a Z50 now, Terrence? Like right now? Or, once the camera's been out for quite a long time, I think, 3 years or so, would you buy a camera now? Or would you prefer to have Z50 Mark II, even if it's more or less the same thing, So that's the question. I can tell you that like sales of Z6 Mark II quite slowed down with the rumors of Z3 coming out. So it's very similar situation with would be with Z50 once we kind of start to get more credible rumors, because people do read those things. They do read rumor websites. Let's see. So Albert says, yeah, there is a space for Z7 III because for some people Z8 is too big. Here we go. So there is, it's nice to have an option there. Roy Bigsby says, yeah, AF is good these days. I want more dynamic range, maybe 16-bit stills. I'm all for it. I want to start to see 16, 18 stops dynamic range on photographic sensors. That's what I want to start to see. So it's happening in the cinema world. So I assume that will trickle down into stills photography eventually. But definitely, I think that's something that, I think it's cool. I think, yeah, we're going to stick to 45 megapixels for quite some time on full frame bodies, I think. I don't think we need more than that. But I do feel like it's nice to have those options, though. So, which I'm saying that Z7 Mark III still has place for people who want it. So some people want to stick to Nikon system. They don't want to go to other systems. They don't want to look to GFX or Hasselblads for higher resolution. So it's always good to have that choice. Again, there's a support for Z7 Mark III, with Jelly Donna says, everything I hear about Z7 Mark III, people want a high dynamic range, slow for landscape. Again, it mimics what I was saying on all my live streams. Let's see. John Yan says, never use DX on my full frame cameras, can crop later. The same, yeah. So I can always crop when I need to, in the post. It's not a big deal. I hope I'm not buffering at the moment. Stuart X says, I have a D850, but I'm looking for a good street camera. Do you think Z50 would be a good camera for this purpose? It's small. The beauty of this camera is small and compact. That's the beauty of this camera. It's, especially, if you have large hands, it's going to look even smaller. So you can be very discreet with this. That's the thing. So as a kind of a stealth camera, similar size to, let's say, X106 or just slightly larger, let's say, than Ricoh GR series, if you use 16-50 lens, it's still reasonably small. So yes, I think I would say it's pretty good if you want to be quite candid. And autofocus is reasonable enough for this. So, unless it's like super fast action or something like this. Let's see. Albert Jimenez says, hi, Con, I just want to let you know that you're doing an excellent job and we really appreciate the time you take to be with us. Thank you, Albert. I appreciate that. It means a lot. It means a lot. It's always good to read this. And I appreciate you all being here and listening to me rambling on everything Nikon. All right, so this discussion on dynamic range over pixel count. So again, Tom Lawrence supports this, and he says literally the same, make an emphasis on image quality rather than speed. Let's see. John Yan says, we need more DX lenses. I agree, we need more DX lenses. Yeah, we need small, light, reasonable price lenses. We need a budget range from Nikon. So, and I like 28mm and 40mm primes. They're not exactly, as we call it, DX lenses, but they're small and portable. We need equivalent of 28mm or 35mm on DX body. So as I always say that one of the first Fuji, X Pro 1 lenses when they released was 18mm f2, I think, or f2.8. So that's equivalent of 27mm, yeah? So I think Nikon needs one. So yeah, I think we need one. We've got 23, don't we? So 24mm. Yeah, we got 24mm. So that's good actually. So we got 35 equivalent for this. Let's make it 18. Then it's going to be a perfect setup. Make it the size of 26 pancake, for DX camera, and then that would be a nice package with something like Z50 or Nikon ZFC to go with for, let's say, documentary street photography. And I think it will compete well with likes of Fuji cameras. Let's see more comments. Kirill is saying, I want a Leica-sized pocketable Z camera with IBIS as a second camera, and I guess it means waiting for ZFC too. Could be, yes. I mean, I wish Nikon ZF full frame would be smaller as well. We had a visitor from Japan this week, and from Nikon, and he asked, what camera would you like? And I as I said, I thought, okay, well, I want an FM4A, so I said film camera. I know it's not going to happen. And I said that some people are asking for digital rangefinder. So look, I've done my job, okay? So I've mentioned those things. Will it go anywhere? Probably not. But, when I was asked the question, I answered. So here you have it, folks. So we clearly probably will see more or less upgrade on current existing lineup, of course, plus a video side of things. Let's see. J. Road Photo Art says, for all those D500 users out there, they want Z50 Mark II price point to upgrade. Most can't afford Z8 or Z9. But I don't think that Z50 Mark II would be D500 replacement. That's the thing. I think they need a beefier build. They need more of a Z8 build in a way. So, that's the thing. But who knows? Who knows? I personally think that obviously it would be a new entry in a Z lineup. So that's a good thing if you're going to see something about Z50. Will it happen again at this point? As you can see, there are no rumors at all about D500 replacement camera. But if Z50 Mark II does that thing, does everything a D500 will user want, a part of the form factor, will the D500 people buy it? Because it may feel a little bit too front heavy and not as balanced in hands. Let me know in the comments below. Or do you want something more of a Z8 build camera with a DX sensor? So, like a mini Z8, which is basically a D500, a DX. Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to try to catch up with you because I can see that the comments are going really fast, and I just want to see if I missed anything. Hello, Photograph. Good to see you in the chat. There is a discussion on the dynamic range. Let's have a poll, actually. Let's do another poll. Let's do another poll because we like poll. We want to be interactive. So let's say, would you rather have a more megapixels MPX or higher dynamic range? And of course I misspelled it because my spelling is wrong. Or higher dynamic. Would you rather have more megapixels or high dynamic range in your camera? Question mark. High dynamic range. Let's just copy that. You see, that's why I need an assistant really to do those things. More megapixels. That's where me and Becky definitely worked much better. So let's start the poll. I want to see your opinion. Would you rather have more megapixels or high dynamic range in your camera? So here we go. It's an interesting one. The answer is there. The answer is there. I would vote the same. So we all know each other. And 16-bit, yes, give me 16-bit, but give me true 16-bit. Because a lot of it's interesting comparison. A lot of like there was a Fuji comparison of 14-bit and 16-bit, and there's not much difference between 14-bit and 16-bit files on GFX. That's from what I've read back in the day. So but I think it's good to have it there. It's good to have it there. Why not? Okay, but what will be the price difference between wishlist Z50 Mark II ZF or Z6 III? George B is asking. Well, that's the thing. If you want a Z500, the price is going to be probably close to something like £2,500, £3,000, in my opinion, for DX camera, but it's going to be a mini Z500. And always the question I ask you guys, that's would you pay close to £3,000 for Z500, or would you rather spend a little bit extra and get a Z8? So that's the question. But if Z50 Mark II, if it competes with what it competes with a Gen 1 camera, then yeah, we're looking at something between, let's say, £1,000 to £1,500 for the body. So that's the thing. It really depends where they want to go, because obviously Z6 Mark III is not exactly the same as Z6 Mark II. It's it's an upgrade on existing body, but also it's advancement. So it's not exactly the same camera. So, it's kind of goes a little bit, it's all rounder, but with, more towards videography as well. So, so it's not exactly just one-to-one upgrade, if you see what I mean. So, yeah, 16-bit files are quite large. Yeah, just keep that in mind. So obviously, the space on hard drive is cheap nowadays. You can get 20 and 24 terabytes slow hard drives, the HDDs, for about £250, £300. Obviously, always have a backup if you're buying something like this. So just keep that in mind. But the storage is there if you need to. Online backup is reasonably cheap as well. If you need to, you can have. Someone suggested that I should set up NAS for backup on the previous years. I do have Synology NAS installed in my house, so with a four drive base. So yeah, I have that. It's backs up on my computers, my laptops, and I also have online backup. So it also goes to to the cloud. All there. So, so yeah, I do have a backup more or less sorted out on this. For some of you who back in the day did a live stream on backup. So if it's something that you haven't done before, it may be worth just looking at what I was saying back in the day. So, but it may be worth investing in a good backup solution. That would be my advice on that. All right, let's see more comments. Let's see just where did I lose you guys? Okay, so you got 16-bit discussion. Okay, we covered this. George B suggests Z50 gaff tape over the logo, Z6 2.8 lens, 26 2.8 as a street camera. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Was it like yeah, close to 40, isn't it? So it's not too bad. If you want to go wider though, that's my question is, if you want to go wider, you only have option of 16 to 50. Like, that's the thing. There's no nice prime, and I feel like we need a DX wide prime, like equivalent of 28 mil. That would be absolutely incredible. Craig C says, personally, I love the size of ZF and Z8 for my hands. I have issues with the tiny light camera bodies. You know me and the case of Hanging Pinky. Obviously, Hanging Pinky is a joke. I'm glad that every now and then I get a nasty comment about this, but but I will continue saying the case of curious case of Hanging Pinky in there. Z8 for me is a professional camera. A professional camera has to be built to have enough estate on it to grab the camera the right way. So I absolutely agree that that's the reason why I love the 800 series cameras, and I never kind of get like personally kind of good with D750 and D780 cameras or D600. I didn't like the way they felt in your hand, so that's why D850, D800 series was my to-go professional commercial work camera. Z8 is absolutely the same. You all know what I said before. When Z6, Z7 was out, I told that they're not professional cameras. They won't compete with professional cameras, in my opinion. It was controversial at the time. A lot of you didn't agree with me, but when Z8 came out, I said, finally, we have the body that does this. That's the thing. And when I'm talking about, let's say, Z500, Z9 replacement, I feel like it needs to be Z8 size, just for very simple reason, because that kind of camera is going to be used by wildlife photographers and sports photographers who want to have a DX crop in a professional body, and they're going to use it with big lenses. It's very simple. So camera like Z50, which is tiny, and it's perfect for street photography with a small prime lens attached to it, it's not going to be a right solution for wildlife photography because it's a tiny body. It's like back in the day when people used Nikon Z system via adapter and would attach 600 mil to it, and that would give you 2.7 crop on that, which is what, 1560 or something millimeter focal distance. It sounds amazing, but it's a bit front heavy. So unless you just use it on a tripod most of the time, that's where it's at. But one of the things I would say, I personally would prefer bigger real estate for the pro body, something a little bit more semi-pro consumer side of things. We can go smaller. That's the thing, and there's a reason why Z6 got a little bit bigger, in my opinion. So so definitely it's got more grip nowadays on the body. So let's have a look. Let's have a look. I'm still buffering on my screen, but I see the comments are coming. That means you guys can see me okay. Don't forget to like. Thank you, Len. I appreciate it. Yeah, guys, if you like the stream, definitely, hit that button. You don't like it, hit that button as well. You know why? Because realistically, all it does, it promotes your stream to more people like yourselves who are searching for interesting Nikon content that we do weekly. So, that's all it does, and if you don't like it, it's not a problem. It's absolutely not a problem. But as I say, just hit one of those buttons and, we all going to see a million views one day. You never know. So Terence Allen is in the chat and he says Z12 to 28 power zoom on Z50 on my Z50 provides a reasonable wide angle. And I agree, it's a great lens. It's a great lens. And when it came out, we're still waiting for more power zooms. So that's the thing. I want to see more power zooms like this, either for DX or full frame. Because one of the good things about them is it's got this videography feature as well. So the power zoom is quite useful for this type of thing. So it's always good to have on that. There's still a 16-bit discussion. I think we should probably do a whole live stream on 16-bit. Because I can see people are very passionate about this. That's interesting to know. Okay, so Paul Bunn says, please advise everyone that the latest firmware version 3.70 for the Z7 is buggy. You can no longer see non-CPU lenses with FTZ and FTZ 2 adapters. AS, AFS lenses still work. So Paul, never heard of this before. Some of you who have Z7, please, if you have the latest firmware, if you can check and let us know either in the comments under this video or in the chat and see if that's the case. If that's a major thing, then it's worth getting in touch with Nikon, and I can always send out an email as well. So that's the thing. I'll do my part on your behalf as well. So, but definitely, I want to see another confirmation of that. So let me know either in the comments on this video, or if you can do it in the chat, that would be amazing as well. Prasanna Raj Kamal says, is there any chance of ZL silver version similar that I've seen in the recent future? I wouldn't say no. I personally think that it's absolutely there's a chance for this. We've seen black ZFC that came out after the silver ZFC, so I don't see why not. It could be a Nikon store only thing exclusive to Nikon store, but I don't see why not, realistically speaking. So I think it's definitely a higher possibility than many other things. That's my thinking. So then digital rangefinder or something like this, in my books. Joe Vlog says, D800 gives me the same feeling, but obviously very different as my beloved F4S. Here we go. That's the answer to that. So yeah, D800 series is fantastic. Just the feel. Yeah, you take it. For me, it was more F100. I'm not F4 guy, but my first camera was F100, so that's the reason for that. But yeah, it's that type of feel, and it just feels chunky, but not too heavy. So it's got a nice grip. Everything is under the right thumbs. So that's very that's very useful. So that, in my opinion, yeah, it's a great camera to have, and that's why I like Z8 the way it is. It needs to be big for a reason, and I don't think it's too big for certain things. But that's the thing. Z8 for me, it's a professional camera, and it's designed to be a professional camera. So if you are a keen enthusiast and you want something smaller and lighter, well, then yeah, something like Z6 II, but it's not the same resolution. I agree. From another point of view is I don't think that if Z7 Mark III has the same resolution as Z8, the question is where the pricing is at what and what else it has that is different from Z8. So that's the thing. So I don't see the point of having smaller form factor and literally the same spec. It's just they will basically eat each other's sales. I don't think it will expand on that. So that's the thing, and that's why I think it makes more sense to have a smaller body and higher resolution sensor. But again, but I could be wrong on this one at the end of the day. Deborah is saying Z6 III feels much better than the original Z6, even though I have smaller hands. Yeah, it's the grip that is slightly deeper, isn't it? And it's just it makes all the difference. It makes all the difference. I absolutely agree with you, and I'm really glad that they've done this fine tuning. It's really more of a fine tuning because it's not a brand new form factor. But they slightly expanded the body, made it a little bit thicker and the grip a little bit deeper. And it just, yeah, it's absolutely, it makes a lot of difference. Especially if you're shooting a lot, if you're having camera in your hands, your wrist is going to thank you at the end of the day. So absolutely, I agree with you, Deborah. All the high angle is not interesting conversion to CF Express cards. I'm afraid that if you need the speed, that will be the way to go. When was the last time we saw a technology update in SD cards? So that's the thing. We haven't seen upgrades. It seems like it's 300 megabytes per second still. So that's the thing. So the good news is, compared to XQD cards, CF Express cards are getting cheaper and cheaper by the day. And that's a good thing. So it seems like it's a widely more adopted format now by manufacturers, which means that there's a price war happening, which means we're going to get our memory cards cheaper and cheaper and faster and faster. Because new generation comes out, PCIe 4 cards been out for the last 3 to 6 months. That means you can get a last generation at more reasonable prices. So as I say, maybe you don't want that, but if you're going to buy a camera, the good news is that those memory cards shouldn't be that expensive as they used to be back in the day. So there's a discussion of global shutter. Alan saying every red camera has a global shutter at 8K and a high dynamic range. Maybe Nikon will tap into that tech. Who knows? That's the thing. I absolutely agree with you. So I think next year we'll start to see what's going to come. A lot of those sensors designed for, let's say, Alexa cameras and red cameras, they are small production. So that's the thing. And that's the reason why they're quite expensive. So if we increase the manufacturing numbers, that technically should make it cheaper. How much cheaper, that's another story. But it's definitely interesting to see what Red is going to take from Nikon and what Nikon is going to take from Red. So that's, definitely next year is going to be probably the year to see those kind of fruitful results, hopefully. All right, let's see. So high dynamic range is the winner of our last poll. So again, very simple question to do. So, it seems like it's not a split. I absolutely agree. I want to start to see the higher. I'm kind of down with 14, 14 stops. I mean, that's already very good, but why not? Well, give me more. I want to, turn up my, recover my shadows and my highlights up to 11, give me extra slider in Lightroom or whatever, who knows. All right, so let's see. Nikon Harrison says Z8 is the best camera I have ever used. Would be happy if it would be in a slightly smaller body. Okay, that's one up for Z7 Mark III as a mini Z8. So let's do this. Roy Bigsby says the bigger the camera body, the more stable the images. That's another thing. The heavier the less vibration. We have technology that helps with that, but obviously for video work as well, that helps having heavier, especially if you're shooting handheld. Obviously, you got vibration reduction in the sensor, but also because it's heavy, you have kind of less camera shake as well with your hands. So all that is quite interesting. So. Good, Paul. Try to contact them. That's good news. So pass it on. Colin is in chat. Hello, Colin. Say hi, Colin. Thank the team for Z7. It's now on the way to fixation. So you're upgrading your Z7 camera to infrared. I want to see some results of this. So definitely, once you have it back, I want your opinion on that because it sounds really, really interesting. Oh, yes, Royce, keep forgetting about Nikon One system. I keep forgetting about it. I pretend that Nikon One didn't exist, personally, but it was an interesting experiment, and they sold really well in Asian countries, but it wasn't a camera for me. I can tell you that. Joe Vlog says, I voted megapixels rather than dynamic range because I'm beginning to enjoy a different, less HDR prints. I'm beginning to pursue something different. On bright day, my eyes can't see into shadows. Joe Vlogs raises an interesting question here, and I absolutely agree with you. We kind of, like this whole thing nowadays is to basically bring everything to midtones, if you notice. And I don't know if it's the trend nowadays or everyone is just want to say like, oh, I just want to recover the details everywhere. And, but realistically speaking, You should make the image look how you see it. You don't need to make the image that looks like AI generated image. That's why I'm kind of, realistically speaking, like I like my landscapes not HDR. I like to represent the scene I saw, and maybe it's not going to look as beautiful as other options, but that's the way I saw the scene. I like my landscapes with buildings that and there's a cables, let's say, and things like this. I like to keep them there because that's how I saw the scene. You know, like I'm shooting a lot of film nowadays. I don't have much latitude to play with, but I'm really don't like that idea that let's recover all the data we have and make the image looks like a gray mesh, or we just crank up saturation to 11 and make it super HDR. Like I don't understand this personally. I think the more kind of people work with the images, the more kind of subtle they become. The less they start to crank up things. And they kind of try to go a little bit more subtle. So maybe they think, oh, I should put more, but they actually put a little bit less. That's kind of my thinking about this. But everyone is different again. So I'm not here to judge. That for sure. I can tell you that. All right. So yeah, but it's interesting. It's interesting question, Joe. I think it's worth looking into as a maybe like a bigger conversation to have. Because I've raised one point. There's so many points around that. So 1H600 is a great value considered Bixby. I absolutely agree with you. It's a good value for money. Deborah is asking, will another Z camera come this year or lenses? So she's hoping for 200 macro. I personally think we need 200 macro, absolutely, because we haven't seen 200 macro replacement. So the current version, well, that's one that has been discontinued a long time ago, is AFD. So it's the one that doesn't have even motor built in. So have one with a built-in motor and vibration reduction, all up-to-date specs. That would be absolutely amazing. I absolutely agree with you on this. But the cameras I want to know from you. Do you think we will see Z50 Mark II replacement? Do you think we will see Z7 Mark III this year? Do let me know in the comments below. Let's see. We're gonna be wrapping up because 18 past 3. So we're gonna give it another maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Hopefully, I'll answer all your questions and read all your comments, and then we're gonna wrap up. Always happy to stay a little bit longer. That's absolutely no problem. Yeah, so 105 doesn't take teleconverter. That's true. The older F mount version takes teleconverter. The Z mount doesn't. But if not the reach, but the magnification, that's what you need, then you can buy either Kenko, I think, autofocus step-up rings. You don't really need autofocus for high magnification. And there's also a Novaflex bellows, automatic bellows, that are also available. Not cheap, I can tell you that, but you can extend them to whatever you need, magnification you need. It will still put down the aperture. It will pass the EXIF data. But obviously, the range extension and magnification extension are two very different things. A lot of people, like common questions, say, what's the difference between teleconverter and step-up rings? Well, there's a difference, absolutely. Let's go. John Yan says, 15 years old, in the back of room, cleaned your sensor. You can do it yourself, not hard or dangerous. Okay, so the sensor cleans are generally not that difficult to do. I agree. But my advice there, if you can get someone to show it to you and you can do things together, then absolutely do that first. It's more risky to see the YouTube video and do it. And the reason is it's 99% you're going to be fine. But obviously, if something happens during the day, especially on DSLRs where your shutter may go down and your mirror could go down and your swab is in there, then your shutter is basically ruined. So keep that in mind. But yes, it's not difficult. However, if you can ask someone to show you how to do this and do it with them for the first time, that's my advice more than anything else. But good old-fashioned puffer, get the one that has a HEPA filter at the back. So, the air goes in, keeps the dust in, dust doesn't come out. Again, turn the camera upside down. So this is your mount. Then just blow the air gently inside. So if you've got any loose dust particles, they will come out, especially on Z mirrorless cameras. Generally, if you don't have a shutter guard, your sensor is exposed anyway. Just work your way through it. And that's a good way to get rid of the dust. Obviously, if you've got some sticky particles or oil from the shutter, which some of the cameras like D600 back in the day, D7000 is notorious for oil on the shutter. For that, you will need more chemicals for sure. Generally, for oil, you need special chemicals to remove oil first, and then you do another path with other chemicals to actually clean the dust after as well. So, like those little things, keep them in mind. But overall, just regular puffer. Buy a slightly more expensive one with a HEPA filter in there, so a little filter thing that absorbs the dust and things like this, keeps the dust in place. That's a good option. So there's many options. Just do your research online. There are quite a few in there. Let's look at more of your comments. J Blue says, I do think we will see a Z50 Mark II. I do not think we will see a Z7 Mark III. I do think we will see at least 2 Nikon Cine lenses in 2025. I agree. Z50 Mark II is a given. Absolutely. Cine lenses, definitely. I think we might see Cine camera, so that's as well. I think it's the case. And yeah, I think it's going to be a Nikon dedicated Cine camera. That's definitely it is. Yeah, Z7 Mark III is a puzzle. I personally think it should be there, but again, we all speculate at this stage. Joe Vlogs is saying, I think Nikon urgently needs consumer cameras. Apple market share was dead or dying until it brought the Mark to school. It's brought to Mark to school. Nikon needs to make mirrorless accessible to 16 years old. Z50 Mark II, please. Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. As I always say, I came through photography school. So I've done BTEC National Diploma in Photography. It's a UK thing. So we had Nikon cameras in there. From what I know, Canon works with universities quite well. So Nikon should be doing this as well, because they can use those professional cameras while they studying. They'll buy new cameras. Yeah, we talked about this. I absolutely agree with you. It's definitely something that is not that difficult to do. That's the thing. But if you can get the creatives, then definitely, if you can get young creatives to hold Nikon cameras, eventually buy one, maybe a cheaper model, and then if they continue with photography, they will upgrade. A lot of us are not professional photographers who bought a Nikon camera back in the day. We discussed it again on our previous live streams, and then they basically decided to stick with Nikon, and they would buy a more professional camera. Even as a hobbyist, there's a lot of people using Z9s and Z8s as hobbyists, but they came to those cameras, before, so they made those decisions because they already had Nikon camera before. So that's my opinion. So absolutely, it's something that definitely, to improve the market share, we need cheaper cameras, and we need those cameras in the hands of young photographers. Okay, so Roy, I'm repeating the question that's been based on the comments that people say. So that's the thing. It's just life. Okay, so John agreed with me with regards to Sense Clean. Fantastic, happy to help. Let's see. Terence Allen says, thank you, John Young. Many thanks. Still, they clean the whole camera, and I got some exercise walking to Grains and back. Okay, good. That's the thing. But yeah, one of the things you can buy as well is those little what's called Pentax, like sticky gel things as well. But again, you got to be careful with those. So so just like when the first cameras came out with a vibration reduction on the sensor, so if actually the sensor is moving, this general advice then not to push those sensors with those sticky things. So just keep that in mind. So like my advice is basically contactless, puffer, because you're not touching the sensor with anything. You just blow air, so nothing touches the sensor. So let things to go wrong. That's the thing. All right. I guess we are wrapping up, guys. It's been a pleasure. It's 3:25 in the UK. I wish you a wonderful weekend. I hope it's a nice wrap up. Enjoy the rest of summer. Take some good photographs. If you have any ideas on the topics of the live streams, do let me know in the comments below. But in the meantime, I'm going to sign out. I'm going to wish you all the best. Going to continue. Well, I'm going to finish my coffee finally. But yeah, we'll see you next week around the same time. Hopefully, we're going to have more rumors to discuss, but you never know. All the best. Good to see you all. Bye.